Welcome to Wales. There are lands where people do not need to tell stories, because the earth and sky themselves have already written their own stories, through every layer of weathered rock, every mist-covered mountain, and every wave breaking against ancient rocky shore. Wales is one of those lands. Nestled along the western edge of England, where the Irish Sea meets towering granite mountain ranges, Wales exists like a parallel world, wild, ancient, and hauntingly quiet. Here, more than 600 stone castles have remained standing for centuries, more than any other country in the world in proportion to its area. Those grey stone walls are not merely relics. They are silent witnesses to conquests, vanished dynasties, and a Celtic people who have never allowed their language and identity to be forgotten. But Wales is not only about castles. It is also the cloud-covered peaks of Snowdonia, where the light changes every hour like a living painting. It is the coastlines where white sands stretch toward the horizon at Tenby and Barmouth. It is a strange village with the appearance of the Mediterranean, seemingly lost in the middle of Celtic land. Portmeirion. And it is the capital city of Cardiff, where modern life blends with structures bearing the marks of an old empire. On this journey, we will not simply visit the 10 most beautiful destinations in Wales. We will travel through every layer of time, every shade of light, and every emotion that this land has preserved for thousands of years. A slow, quiet, and enchanting journey, created for those who still believe that the world contains places whose stories have not yet been fully told. Wales is waiting behind the veil of morning mist. Our journey begins in Cardiff, one of the youngest capitals in Europe, situated at the mouth of the River Taff as it flows into the Bristol Channel. From above, Cardiff appears like a mosaic of old and new. Victorian domes standing beside the modern glass buildings of Cardiff Bay, once the busiest coal port in the world, are now transformed into a peaceful waterfront promenade, reflecting the sunset on the still surface of the water. In the heart of the city, Cardiff Castle rises majestically as a living testament to 2,000 years of history. From a Roman fort to a Norman stronghold, and finally to a magnificent neo-Gothic mansion renovated in the 19th century, with gilded rooms and ceilings depicting an entire galaxy. But what makes Cardiff memorable does not lie in its grandeur, but in its rhythm of life. The music drifting from old pubs in the covered Cardiff market, the Welsh language echoing somewhere through the streets, and the sense that this city, no matter how modern it becomes, still carries within it a rhythm entirely its own, belonging to the Celtic land. Standing in Cardiff at sunset, when the city lights begin to glow beside the river, one has the feeling of standing at the threshold of something greater. As though this city is only the opening chapter, while the true story of Wales lies beyond the distant hills, where the city lights gradually give way to the darkness of the wild land. And from here, just a few miles to the north, one of the greatest castles in Europe awaits. Less than half an hour's drive from Cardiff, in the middle of a quiet, small town, one of the largest castles in England and Wales lies silently beside its own artificial lake. Caerphilly Castle does not seek to impress through height, but through its overwhelming scale. A concentric defensive complex covering more than 12 acres, surrounded by the largest system of artificial moats in the British Isles, making the castle appear as though it is floating on the still water, reflecting every grey stone in the soft light of the early morning. Construction began in 1268 under Lord Gilbert de Clare, who sought to assert his power against the native Welsh leaders. Caerphilly was one of the most advanced military structures in medieval Europe, a place where many concentric defensive techniques were pioneered and later adopted by King Edward I for his other famous castles. To this day, the southern tower still leans at an angle even more striking than the Tower of Pisa, a remnant left by bombardment during the English Civil War in the 17th century. Walking across the stone bridge leading to the castle gate, it feels as though time has come to a standstill. Footsteps echo through the vast inner courtyard, while the wind passes through openings where guards once stood watch 8 centuries ago. There is no extravagance, only a solemn majesty, like a giant that has fallen asleep in the heart of Wales, with only the still water left to tell its story. Leaving Caerphilly, the road takes us away from the cities and deeper into the Northern Highlands, where nature begins to raise its own voice. In the heart of South Wales, the Brecon Beacons stretch out like an ocean of green hills, where light and mist take turns redrawing the landscape with every hour of the day. This is the land of Pen y Fan, the highest peak in South Wales at an elevation of 886 meters, where, on clear mornings, one can see the entire expanse of land stretching all the way to the Bristol Channel. Red sandstone valleys, waterfalls hidden behind forests, and a night sky recognized as one of the world's rare international dark sky reserves. A place where thousands of stars are still visible, undimmed by the lights of cities. The name Brecon Beacons originates from the historical role of these mountain peaks, once used to light warning fires during times of war, transmitting signals from one summit to another across Wales. Today, the native name Banau Brycheiniog is gradually being restored, linked to the legendary King Brychan of the ancient kingdom of Brycheiniog. Walking through this highland region, there is nothing but the sound of the wind, the distant sound of sheep grazing, and a silence that feels almost sacred. This is not a place for rushing. This is a place to stand still, take a deep breath, and feel the true scale of nature, where human beings are only a tiny speck among hills that have existed for millions of years. From the summit of the highlands, the view turns towards the southwest, where the coastline begins to appear, and a town bursting with color awaits beside the Atlantic Ocean. On the Pembrokeshire Peninsula, where the Atlantic Ocean meets limestone cliffs, the town of Tenby appears like a vivid watercolor painting with rows of Georgian townhouses painted in a variety of colors, pink, yellow, and blue, lined up along the cliffs overlooking the harbor. The town's Welsh name, Dinbic y Pysgod, means the little fortress of the fish, a name that recalls its origins as a medieval fishing village, surrounded by stone walls dating from the 13th century that remain almost entirely intact to this day. When the tide recedes, golden sandy beaches stretch for miles, facing the small island of Caldee offshore, where Cistercian monks still live according to a monastic tradition that has endured for centuries. But it is the light itself that makes Tenby truly special, the warm, golden light of sunset. When the sun sinks behind the harbor, tinting the colorful houses into a shimmering rainbow reflected on the water, while small fishing boats lie quietly at anchor, gently rocking with each wave. Walking through the narrow, sloping streets, hearing the cries of seagulls across the sky, and feeling the scent of sea salt mingling in the air. Tenby offers a rare sense of warmth in a Wales more commonly known for its majestic and untamed beauty. This is a place where beauty does not need to be grand to touch the viewer's heart. Leaving the warm, sunlit south behind, our journey continues northward along the western coast, where the landscape gradually shifts into a quieter and wilder character. Nestled between the hills of Gwynedd and the Moddach estuary, Barmouth is one of the rare places where mountains and ocean meet within the same frame. This small town stretches along a narrow strip of land between rocky cliffs and the coastline, with steep streets and old stone houses layered one above another, as though climbing the hillside. Below, Barmouth Bridge, the longest wooden railway bridge in Wales, extends across the Morduch estuary, connecting the two shores in a landscape described by many photographers as one of the most beautiful sunset views in Britain. The naturalist Charles Darwin once praised the Morduch Valley and the Barmouth area as one of the most beautiful places he had ever visited. That is not difficult to understand when standing on the beach at dusk, watching the river wind between hills covered in deep green forests before flowing into the Irish Sea, which is turning shades of orange and red. Unlike other lively destinations, Barmouth carries a slow, almost silent rhythm of life. A place where people need only sit on the sandy shore, listen to the sound of the waves and the distant whistle of a train, and fully experience the rare meeting of mountains and sea. From Barmouth, far to the north, on a high rocky outcrop overlooking the entire Cardigan Bay, another castle is waiting. One of the most impressive fortresses ever built on Welsh soil. Standing majestically on a rocky outcrop more than 60 meters high, overlooking Cardigan Bay and the distant Snowdonia mountain range, Harlech Castle is one of the most dramatically situated castles in Europe. Built by order of King Edward I between 1282 and 1289, as part of the Iron Ring of castles intended to assert Norman control over Wales. Harlech was once surrounded by the sea to the west, with a stepped passage leading directly down to a secret harbor, allowing supplies to be delivered by water even when the castle was under siege from the land. Today, although the coastline has retreated due to natural sedimentation, the stone walls still stand firm, bearing witness to one of the most famous sieges in Welsh history, when the leader Owain Glyndwr captured the castle in 1404 and turned it into the capital of his rebellion for independence. That story lives on in the melody of Men of Harlech, one of Wales's most famous military marches, believed to have been composed in remembrance of the years-long siege that took place here. Standing at the top of the castle tower on a windswept afternoon, looking down at the golden sands stretching all the way to the horizon and beyond them to the mist-shrouded peaks of Snowdonia, one understands why this place was chosen not only for its defensive strength, but also for a majestic beauty so overwhelming that it sends a shiver through the soul. And it is those very mist-shrouded peaks that are now calling our journey deeper into the heart of Wales. Hidden within a forest near the Dirad estuary, not far from Harlech, Portmeirion appears like a mirage. A village with a Mediterranean character, featuring pastel-colored domes, Italian-style bell towers, and tropical gardens lost amid the wild Celtic landscape. This unusual village is not an ancient relic, but the lifelong creation of Welsh architect Sir Clough Williams-Ellis, who devoted 50 years, from 1925 to 1975, to building a living testament to his belief that people could develop a beautiful place without destroying it. Every brick and every arch in Portmeirion was collected and reused from old structures across England, creating a setting that feels both nostalgic and surreal. Portmeirion was also the filming location for the classic television series The Prisoner in the 1960s, turning it into a place of pilgrimage for film lovers from around the world. Walking through the brightly colored narrow lanes, amid the gentle sound of wind chimes swaying and the fragrance of flowers from the subtropical garden, it feels as though one is stepping into a dream lost in time, where the boundaries between Italy and Wales, between imagination and reality, seem to disappear. As the afternoon sunlight filters through the trees, bathing the pastel domes in gold, Portmeirion reminds us that beauty sometimes does not come from authenticity, but from the courage to dream different dreams. From this enchanting garden, the road leads directly into the most majestic landscape of the entire journey, where the highest peaks in Wales touch the sky. Snowdonia, or by its native name, Eryri, meaning the land of eagles, is the wildest and most majestic heart of all Wales, a national park stretching across more than 2,000 square kilometers of mountains, lakes, and ancient forests. At the center of this land, Mount Snowdon, or Yr Wydfa in the native Welsh language, rises to a height of 1,085 meters, the rooftop of both Wales and England, excluding Scotland. Celtic legend tells that this mountain peak is the burial place of the giant Ritter Gore, who was defeated by the legendary King Arthur in an epic battle. A story that makes the mountain even more mysterious beneath the permanent layer of mist that covers its summit throughout the year. Beyond Snowdon, Eryri is also home to the mirror-like stillness of Llyn Idwal, the deep green Nant Gwynant Valley. And a classic steam railway that continues to run along the mountainside like a time machine, carrying visitors close to the summit amid spectacular views of the valley below. The light in Eryri changes constantly. At times, white clouds swirl around the mountain peaks like a mysterious curtain. At other times, the clear sky reveals a panoramic view of mountain ranges stretching all the way to the Irish Sea. Standing in the middle of this land, people feel their own smallness before nature more clearly than anywhere else. A feeling that is both overwhelming and cleansing to the soul. This is the emotional climax of the entire journey. The place where everything most majestic about Wales converges into a moment that leaves one speechless. From the foot of the mountains of Eryri, The ancient road of kings leads us to one of the most magnificent castles ever built in medieval Europe. On the shore of the Menai Strait, where the waters separate the island of Anglesey from mainland Wales, Caernarfon Castle stands like a declaration of power carved in stone. Immense, majestic, and possessing an architectural beauty entirely different from that of Wales's other castles. Built from 1283 by order of King Edward I, Caernarfon Castle was designed with inspiration from the ancient walls of Constantinople, reflecting the English king's ambition to turn this place into a symbol of a new empire. The alternating bands of multicolored stone across the walls, together with polygonal towers instead of the traditional round ones, make Caernarfon a unique masterpiece of military architecture, recognized as a World Heritage Site. This is also the place where the investiture ceremonies of the Princes of Wales were held, including the investiture of Prince Charles in 1969. A royal ceremony broadcast live around the world, transforming this castle into a stage for modern history. Passing through the massive gateway of the Eagle Tower, a sense of power and history seems to envelop every step. From the top of the highest tower, the entire panorama of the old town of Caernarfon, the glittering Menai Strait, and the distant peaks of Eryri unfolds within a single frame. One of the most spectacular surviving views from the medieval era. But our journey has not yet come to an end. Along the northern coast, a town with one of the most completely preserved city walls in Europe is waiting to bring the journey to a close with an unforgettable image. Situated at the mouth of the River Conwy, where the hills of Wales slope down to meet the sea, the town of Conwy preserves one of the most complete medieval defensive complexes in the entire world. The Conwy town walls, stretching for nearly a mile and a half and featuring 21 watchtowers, embrace the old town like a solid ring of stone. They were built at the same time as Conwy Castle in the late 13th century, under the direction of the renowned military architect James of St. George, the man who designed most of King Edward I's iron ring of castles across Wales. From the top of the walls, the full view of Conwy Castle's 8 great towers, the shimmering river, and the old rooftops below appears like a medieval painting still alive in every detail. By the riverside, the smallest house in Great Britain, measuring just over 3 meters wide, still stands as a charming detail amid the majestic setting of the castle. And every afternoon, when the tide rises, small boats anchored beneath the grey stone walls create a scene that seems to have remained unchanged for the past 700 years. Walking along the path on top of the ancient walls as sunset falls, with golden orange light coloring every slab of stone, feels like standing on the boundary between two eras, where the past and the present merge into a single breath. And this is also where our journey comes to a close. Not with an ending, but with a moment of silent awe, as the final light of day stretches across the stones that have witnessed the full sweep of history. From the modern rhythm of life in Cardiff, past the towering stone castles of Caerphilly, Harlech, Caernarfon, and Conwy, winding through the mist-covered peaks of the Brecon Beacons and Erie, stopping by the brightly colored coastlines of Tenby and Barmouth, and wandering into the strange dream of Portmeirion. Together, we have completed a journey around Wales, but perhaps we still have not explored everything this land holds within it. Because Wales is not a place to be completed. It is a land to return to discover another valley never before visited, another castle whose story has never been heard, another sunset never before witnessed. Perhaps what makes Wales special does not lie in any particular destination, but in the way this land has preserved its authenticity. In a world changing day by day, Wales remains steadfastly itself. The ancient stones still stand there, the mountains are still covered in mist every morning, and the thousands-year-old Celtic language is still spoken on the lips of the people who live here. If you have ever felt exhausted by the hurried pace of life, perhaps Wales is the place to rediscover that sense of stillness. Not through dazzling spectacles, but through the quiet, genuine, and deeply layered beauty of a land that has never lost itself. Our journey today comes to an end here, beside the ancient walls of Conwy, as the final light of sunset slowly fades across the water. But this world still holds many lands whose stories have yet to be fully told. If you love journeys like this, continue traveling with us on the adventures to come, where other lands around the world are quietly waiting to be discovered. See you again.